Hello, Annalise. How are you?
Hi, teacher. Good afternoon.
Good
Sorry,
afternoon.
I can't enter these days to the classes, but from today I will enter every day.
Okay, that's good to know. So, you have all the recordings also, Annalise. So I think these days were, well, we were working, practicing, and so on. As this class is very practical, there's no thing that you really need to, learn over there. But it's important that
Okay.
you are there to at least practice those things because, those little strategies that we're learning are going to be taken into account in the oral presentations that you're going to have every Monday. All right.
Okay, teacher.
Okay, good. So just for you to know, as last class you had to work on essays, this course is going to be with oral presentations. It means that every Monday, as I was telling you, you need to prepare anything, okay, about any topic you want, and you need to talk in class for 10 minutes. All right, for 10
Okay.
minutes. Again, any topic you want. You're going to be following the strategies as I was telling you, but of course you can structure the presentation in the way you want. Little by little, I'm going to be asking you to apply more things in your oral presentation. But so far, it's going to be like very, very free in the sense that you can prepare it in the way you want. All right?
Okay, I have to write and I have to
Actually,
talk.
Actually, more than a writing, you need to prepare this presentation and you can do it on PowerPoint.
Okay.
And you can write something there if you want, right? But just to help you out when you are making the presentation. But you don't really need to write something like an essay or something like no. You need to prepare a PowerPoint presentation. You can add some pictures there. You can add some words there if you want. It's up to you. But that presentation, of course, is going to be just to help you out remembering some things. The main thing that you have to do is talking. But yeah, you need a presentation. It can be PowerPoint, it can be Presley, I think there's another one. It can be whatever program you want or app you want, but you need to show us something at the same time that you are speaking and talking about a topic. Okay?
Okay, and I have to talk for 10 minutes.
Yes, that's correct. That's going to be
Okay.
like the limit. It has to be like the minimum, and it's better if it is also the maximum. Let's say 10 minutes and 30 seconds, like the maximum that it can be.
Okay. And which are the exams for this level?
One more time, please, Annalise. I didn't understand that question.
Which are the exams or which is the didactic in this level?
Yeah, actually, those are going to be like the quizzes, and the final test, instead of a test, is going to be a final oral presentation, which is going to last
Okay.
15 minutes. All right?
And we have to send you the presentation?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to remember last time you had your own folders in the
Yes.
main folder that you have. It's going to be the same. You're going to have
Okay.
folders with your names. You have to upload the presentation there. But the day of, that everybody is going to work with the oral presentation, you are going to be the one who is going to share the screen and you're going to show that work to your partners as well. But yeah, you need to also upload that in the folder with your name.
Okay, okay, teacher.
All right, that's great, Annalise. If you have any questions, you can let me know. Again, this is going to be every Monday, so it's going to be easy to remember. You have the following 3 Mondays are the three presentations, which are the quizzes, let's say. All right, the quizzes. And the last Monday, which is going to be February the 1st, is going to be the last oral presentation, and that's going to be 15 minutes. The rest of them is only 10 minutes. Okay?
Okay, teacher. And the next level, it can be only the TOEFL?
You mean the next course, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the next course, actually, this is the last course that is obligatory, let's say, right? That when you finish this course, is like you're finishing the program and you can receive the certification and so on. But if you want to improve yourself in terms of taking the TOEFL, yes, there is another course, which is, I think you have two options. I think there's 1 month course and another one that is a 2 month course that is optional. But yeah,
Uh,
you need to be in contact for that. I don't know if you were in contact with Alison, Marco, Marcelo, I'm not sure.
with
One of those?
Allison.
Allison. All right. So you better be in contact with Allison and tell her that this is going to be your last course. And as soon as you finish, let her know. And also let her know that you're interested in taking the TOEFL preparation course. And she's going
Okay.
to give you some other contacts and you're going to take that course as well.
Okay. Okay, teacher. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. And just in case, and by the way, I'm also going to teach you something related to the TOEFL in this course, but it's not going to be dedicated to the TOEFL. I'm also going to mention some Cambridge strategies and so on to improve your speaking abilities so that you can have a better score. But of course, that TOEFL preparation course is going to be entirely dedicated to the TOEFL.
Ah, yes. Okay.
All right?
Thank.
Great. Perfect. You're welcome, Annalise. So we're going to start. Look, the dynamic of this, let's say, conversations, we're going to call them like that as well, is going to be a little bit different. Instead of you reading some of those articles, I'm going to read them for you. And you're going to tell me everything that you're going to be able to understand. All right, so you can
Okay.
take some notes if you want. You can take some notes. You can use, if you want, a Word document in your computer and you can take notes there. It's up to you. But I think that it's that I'm going to be reading the headline, 1 or 2 paragraphs, and you're going to tell me everything that you understood. All right?
Okay.
Perfect. You know, this is a very well-known, well, article, and this is something that everybody knows that is happening. But this is the headline of the article. Let me read it to you. The U.S. Capitol siege was not third world country crisis. This was a uniquely American monster. All right, that is the title of the article. Now, let me read the first paragraph for you. This is in Istanbul, Turkey, it says. The events that unfolded in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday are not the same as what happens elsewhere in countries often referred as a third world or developing. Sorry. All right, one more time, all right? So the events that unfolded in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday are not the same as what happens elsewhere in countries often referred to as third world or developing or over there. Those are places where, lest we forget, the United States has often meddled or invaded under the auspices of bringing democracy. That was the first paragraph. I'm going to read one more paragraph. Sure,
Okay.
there are superficial similarities in the videos of rioters storming in the US Capitol and, say, the moment that the shit posters stormed Iraq's parliament back in 2016. In Iraq, then, the protesters were up in arms over parliamentary deadlock over the formation of a government and were demanding a reshuffle of a proposed cabinet. They were, sorry again, there's many advertisements here. Okay, they were largely supporters of radical Shiite cleric Muscata al-Qadr. That's a name, all right, in another language. Okay, Muscata al,
Okay.
eager on a incited to protest by him. All right. Now that is the end and of that paragraph. So 2 paragraphs. I don't want you to understand everything, of course, because there are words in other languages, there are expressions and names of countries and so on. But please tell me all the words and all the things that you were able to understand, Annalise, and try to tell me a summary about this.
Okay. I don't know if you are talking about the problem of happened the last Wednesday.
Yes, that is correct. Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, I understand that people of Democrats entered to the Capitol and um, did vandalic things
Okay.
and I think that the capital take action for this, and I think that this is what I understand.
Okay, all right. I'm going to read one part because yes, it is about that, right? The riots that were in capital, right? And let's try to understand something because this person, the person that wrote this article, chose this title, and let's say it's a headline for this article. I'm copying and pasting the headline in the chat, and try
Okay.
to tell me why do you think that she chose this headline? There you go. It says, right, the US Capitol siege was not third world country crisis. This was a uniquely American monster. Why do you think that she chose that headline?
Mm,
What is she comparing to the riots that were there? Is she making a comparison with something? What is a third world country?
maybe the third world country it is comparing with us, for example.
Okay, okay. And why do you think she's mentioning this? Why do you think she's saying the US Capitol siege was not third world country crisis?
Mm, because they are a first world country, and they are comparing with countries that have these problems that
Mhm.
they normally don't have these type of problems.
Yes, yes, okay, yes, I agree with you. It's kind of unusual, right? They have
Yes.
never had a problem like that in the U.S. Capitol, and having these problems because of those elections, and you have the supporters, right, on the side of Trump doing that and making this kind of acts or behaving this way. So yeah, I think that she's kind of comparing behavior, right, that is not usual, let's say, in a country that let's say that in that country that everybody's supposed to be a little bit more happier, right, than in other countries. Let's say that. But she's saying that this is not a third world. And then country. And then she also mentions this, and I'm going to copy and paste this. And you're going to tell me also the end of that story and how you can interpret this idea. This is the next part. She was saying the events that unfolded in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday are not the same as what happens elsewhere in the countries often referred to as third world or developing or over there. What can you say about that?
Mm, that that this event was really terrible because um, how can I say not that this event not even else in other countries.
Okay, okay, yes, it was something as we were mentioning, right? That didn't happen before. So it's unprecedented, as you can say that word also, right? Very similar to Spanish, something unprecedented that didn't happen before. And look the words that they are using for third world countries. As for example, you were saying, right? Bolivia is considered as a third world country. And they say third world, developing, or the third expression is kind of funny because it says over there. Why do you think they use that expression over there?
Uh, mm, in process uh, of developing.
Exactly. When they say developing, right, and third world, they say that, right? These are countries that are in process of developing, right? These are countries that have to be first world countries, so they are developing. But the last one is also referred over there because you know that one thing that many people says about Americans is that they know about any other country but the United States, right? So this is kind of
Okay.
making fun of that because everybody else is going to say, "Oh yeah, that problem that happened over there," because they don't know the name of the countries. They don't know what's happening in each country, right? Remember that,
Okay.
right? Remember that people there, and this is not just funny, but things that happen, believe that everybody that speaks Spanish is from Mexico, right? But it's not like
Okay.
that. So that's why they say, right, or over there. So they are comparing this, and this person that wrote this article is kind of making fun of Americans in a certain way because it's saying, look, you are a first world country, right? You don't know which countries are having problems over there, but you also have
Yes.
yeah. And I think that's true. I don't know what you think about those problems. And I don't know what you think about, for example, Trump not accepting losing the election on the list. Do you have any ideas about that?
Yes, I don't like it because he support these people that this event, and I think that this is not correct. And I think that you have to accept all the things that happened, and he um, he lost, and he have to accept mm,
You can say that lost, or you can say that defeat, perhaps, right?
okay,
Yeah. So he
defeat.
has to
Okay.
admit exactly, or his defeat, right? Yeah. And what do you know? This is my last question to finish today's conversation, Annalise. What do you think about those groups that support Trump? For example, they say that many of those groups are racist groups. There was a controversy, right, and saying that uh, people who were part of the Triple K, the KKK, right? Do you know what's the KKK?
No.
It's they call it like the Ku Klux Klan. Do you know what's the Ku Klux Klan?
Okay, okay, I understand.
Yeah. So they say that people from the KKK were supporting Trump. Do you think that that's true? Do you think that that is possible? And what do you think about that?
I think that it is this is right, but I don't like this. I don't like the behavior of Donald Trump and these groups because they are not human. As you are saying, they are racist, and I think that the um, the the match of Donald Trump always are very racist and have bad behaviors with people with other places and this type of things.
All right, all right. Yes, in a certain way, I also agree with you. There are many groups that support Trump that are very racist, that use this kind of discrimination, right, to talk about America. They believe that people from other countries are not welcome in the U.S. They see Latins, right, Latinos, because they also call Latinos, are
Yeah.
a bad thing there in the U.S. But that's not true, right? Perhaps there are many groups, very many gangs and so on, but that's not true in general. So that's going to be it for today, Annalise. We're going to finish here. I don't know if you have any final questions or comments. Again, if it's clear about the oral presentation, it's perfect. If not, also you can make me questions about that.
No, it's perfect. Thank you, teacher.
All right, you're welcome, Annalise. So tomorrow I'm going to be waiting for you. We're going to be learning some more strategies and practicing these speaking skills, and it's going to be a good thing that you're there. All right,
Okay, teacher. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
you're welcome. Bye bye. See you, Annalise.
Bye.
Hello, good evening, Valentina. How are you?
Hi, teacher. I'm fine. Thank you. And you?
That's great. I'm fine also. Thank you. Are you ready for the conversation?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. Let's begin then. We're going to talk about something that everybody's been listening about because, well, it's related to what happened in the United States. So we're going to read an article related to that. All right?
Okay.
Great. So again, this time I'm reading everything and you're going to try to tell me everything that you are able to understand. This is the headline of the article. It says 138 reasons why the Trump fever still hasn't broken. Okay, that's the headline. Now let me read the very first part of this article. It says, you might think that after violent insurrections egged on by Donald Trump stormed and commanded on the Capitol on Wednesday that Republicans might finally disavow the president's wild fantasies about he actually won the election in a landslide. Well, you'd be wrong. Okay? Until that part. I'm going to read one more time. There are many expressions, words that perhaps are kind of new. But again, this is related to what happened in the US. Okay, let me read one more time that part. It says, you might think that after violent insurrections egged on by Donald Trump stormed and commanded the Capitol on Wednesday, that Republicans might finally disavow the president's wild fantasies about how he actually won the election in a landslide. Well, you'd be wrong. Okay, tell me what you're able to understand about this part, please, Valentina, and we're going to be analyzing every part.
Well, what I understand is about Trump that she said that I don't know. I don't understand very well, but I think that is because Trump said that he won the elections.
Uh-huh, exactly, exactly. It starts on that. And what is this person, right? Because someone wrote this analysis, this article. What is this person trying to say? Because at the end, after saying all that, he says, well, you'd be wrong, right? You'd be wrong. You are incorrect. You are not right. And after saying, right, that you might believe that this happened this way, but you're wrong. And let's try to analyze this article, Valentina. In the chat, all right, I'm going to be copying and pasting some important words or expressions. So we're going to go part by part. At the beginning, it says this, Valentina. You might think that after violent insurrections, that's similar to Spanish, right? We understand that expression. Violent insurrections. It's in the chat. You understand that, right? Violent insurrections. That's what happened in the US Capitol, right?
Yes.
Violent insurrections. They were egged on by Donald Trump, and we're going to analyze that part. Let's let's understand what is egg on. What do you think that means, Valentina? They say that those violent insurrections were egged on by Donald Trump.
That um, Donald Trump promote these actions.
Yeah, correct, correct. Yes, he encouraged these actions,
Yes,
right?
he
He was the
encouraged.
one exactly and promoted. Actually, it's also an interesting way of describing that, but it goes to the same way, Valentina. So it's also correct. He encouraged, he like supported in a certain way what happened, right? Good.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first part. It says, right, again, you might think that after violent insurrections egged on by Donald Trump, stormed and commanded on the Capitol, right? Or sorry, on the Capitol on Wednesday, right? This is like that happened on the Capitol on Wednesday. I'm going to copy and paste that again, right? Stormed and commanded the Capitol on Wednesday. So you might think that, and because of that, Republicans, right? Republicans finally or might finally disavow the president's wild fantasies on how he actually right won the election. So let's analyze this. What do you think is this part? Let me copy and paste. Republicans might finally disavow the president wild fantasies about how he actually won the election in a landslide. There you go. How can you interpret or, let's say, paraphrase that idea, Valentina?
What is this about, teacher?
Look, if you read what's after this vote, it says Republicans might finally disavow the president, or all of that is an idea. To disavow something in a landslide is like throw something away, is like discard something, okay?
Uh-huh.
Throw something away. So it's like saying that after those events, Republicans might finally, right, say that that idea is crazy. In other words, right? Say that Donald Trump fantasies are just fantasies and we're not going to support him anymore, right? It's like saying that in other words, Valentina. To disavow something in a landslide, right, is not to take that into account, to recognize that that is not correct. And the person who's writing this says this, right? But at the end, he mentions this last thing that is, well, you'd be wrong. So how can we interpret this introduction of the article, Valentina? What do you say? What is he trying to transmit with this idea?
Uh, that Republicans um, I don't know how to paraphrase. Well, we know that I don't know Republicans uh, know that Trump didn't won the election in a
Okay,
landslide. Uh, Landslide.
okay,
I don't know how to explain what is
yeah.
landslide.
Because landslide, for example, you like this is just an expression, all right? To disavow something in a landslide is to discard something, not to take that into account. It's like saying to instead of disavow and in a landslide, you can say throw away and in a garbage, all right,
Mm.
or in the
Mhm.
garbage. But after that, after saying that we might think that it's like that, he finishes the idea with, well, you'd be wrong. So he's saying that everything that he wrote before, it's not true because Republicans are actually still supporting Trump. All right. So because if you realize, I'm going to now copy and paste the entire idea. He's saying that after those events, all right, after those violent events, we might think that everything is over, that Republicans are not going to support Trump anymore because Trump is a Republican, right? So Republicans are supporting Trump. And he's saying that after those events, perhaps Republicans are going to stop supporting Trump. But it's not like that. That's not true, right? So that's what this introduction is about. In other words, Valentina, because that's why he's saying, right? You might think, might is always a possibility. Okay, you might think, but unfortunately, this is not true. Even after these violent events, Republicans are still supporting Trump, and that's the main idea of the article. Now, you have everything there. I don't know if you have any other questions about some other words over there, Valentina.
No, no. Now I learned what exactly is this bow, this above,
Uh-huh.
and let's line.
Okay, yes, and it's kind of, it's not an easy word, right? It's one of those words that
Yes.
are kind of hard, but with the context, it's going to help us understand, right? It's always going to be helpful to have the context. And I'm going to read one more part of this. And you're going to tell me again, the problem is that, it happened something similar to happen here in Bolivia, right? To what happened here. And it's that there were elections. Donald Trump lost those elections. He's not the president anymore, right? Joe Biden won those elections, but Donald Trump says that it was fraud, right? That there was fraud, that he won the elections, that he is going to do everything to prove that. And there are people who are supporting Trump saying that there was a fraud, right? Do you know what's a fraud in an election, Valentina?
Yes, it's what happened here in Bolivia in 2019 with
Yes.
the mass, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That is a fraud. But Donald Trump believes that it happened. But perhaps most Americans, because I don't know, I don't live in that country. We cannot speak, right, on behalf of someone if we don't live there. But they say that it was not true, that there was
Yeah.
not a fraud, right? That John Biden won the elections, Donald Trump lost. But he believes that he won, and that's why those problems are happening in the United States. Many
Yes.
people, right, made some riots on Capitol, which is a place in the United
And
States.
four people dead, I think, right? People,
Exactly, exactly. Four
yes,
people are dead or four people died
died.
because of those problems, right? Of those riots, you can say. Those are riots, all right? Because of those riots, four people died and many other were wounded, right? They didn't die, but they are wounded. It means that they have some injuries. They are injured, right? So this is happening there. And this person is saying that even though that happened, Republicans are still supporting Trump. And remember the headline, we're going to kind of finish in 2 minutes, but it's interesting to analyze this. Remember that this is the headline. I'm going to read the headline again. 138 reasons why the Trump fever still hasn't broken down, right? That's the title. What do you understand about that headline, Valentina? It says 138 reasons why the Trump fever still hasn't broken.
Sorry, teacher.
Yeah, the headline, okay, the title of this is the following: 138 reasons why the Trump fever still hasn't broken. What do you understand in that idea? It's
Be-
Tell me.
I what I don't know exactly, but what I know about people that support Trump is because they see on him a good president, like he's empresario,
You can say an entrepreneur or yes, a businessman.
a businessman, so he um, has the economic part in USA uh, in a good way, and some businessmen, some enterprises grow up because of him, and
Mhm.
that's why some people support him. But I don't know, it's a little bit difficult situation because, as you said, we don't live there. We don't know exactly what happened and how people feel, because political situations are very um com- a com- are, eh, political situations in all of the country are different. It's not the
Yes.
same in Bolivia, right? So I don't know, that's I think that's why some people support Donald Trump and other people wants a change, because he has for example, the movement like Black Lives Matters and other that I don't know. I only know that movement that don't support Donald Trump.
Okay, okay, yes, and actually that's an interesting analysis, and I agree with you. There are many complex things about other countries that, of course, we don't understand because we don't live there, right? It's as when, for example, many people get angry because people from Argentina, let's say, or people from other countries are I don't know, are thinking about things that are happening in Bolivia, but people from here say that they shouldn't have an opinion on this because they don't live here, right? So it's the same when we make an opinion on what's happening in the U.S. As you're saying, we just know some things, but it's complex, right? And each political situation is complex, and we cannot say that we have the right opinion on that. So that's going to be everything for today. Valentina, thanks for being here and participating. We're going to continue working also with the practices and the strategies tomorrow. And that's it. All right. Thank you very much again, Valentina.
Thank you, teacher. Bye.
Bye bye. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Hello, Jaime. Are you there?
Hello, Jose. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you. What about you? How are you?
I'm good, thanks God.
That's great. That's perfect, Jaime. So we're going to start with the conversation. It's going to follow the same dynamic. I'm going to be reading something for you this time, only
Mhm.
reading, and we're going to be discussing this. All right?
Okay, excellent.
Great. So, this is something perhaps you were listening to some of the last words with Valentina. We're talking about what happened in the US, and we're analyzing why this is a thing over there. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the headline is this one, and you're going to try to tell me what you understand of this headline. It says 138 reasons why the Trump fever still hasn't broken. What do you understand about that headline, Jaime?
It's that they're talking about they're trying to explain why people is still following this guy instead of realizing that he's not a good. Sometimes, like he has good things, but I think that he has more bad things than good things.
Okay,
I don't know
yes.
if you ever heard the name Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, actually I have, and it was a really big issue. I think he died in jail, right?
Exactly. He's already dead.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
the worst thing that is, I don't know if you know, but he was related with traffic, with women, and really bad things. And one of the people that was related with these things, he was Donald Trump. But
yeah.
no one knows that part.
Yes, there are many things. Yeah, I saw also that there are many pictures, right, with both of them together.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I think at that time, this guy had these wild parties, right? I think it was in a private island, something like that.
Mhm.
And many things happened there. So, yeah, there are many things about Trump that perhaps some people know, but others don't. And perhaps those are the ones who are still supporting Trump, and also perhaps is that these are groups that are very radical, right? Because many radical groups are supporting Trump. What do you think, for example, before continuing, because this might be in the 138 reasons, what do you think about the idea that at the beginning of that Trump's term, they say that the KKK, right, the Ku Klux Klan, was also supporting Trump in a certain way? Do
Oh,
you believe
really?
that that's true? Yes, and it was, again, that was only hearsay. We don't know
Oh,
if it's true or not, but they
okay.
were saying that. But what do you think about that? Do you think that that's possible?
Probably because he's related with the same idea that Hitler has used to had. I don't know if you remember, but Hitler had the same idea about saying that they were a superior, um, how can I say, a
Yeah, a race,
superior
right? A superior race.
race. Yeah, superior race. They were better than anyone else, and no one could be like them.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Actually, yeah, it's very
it's not
simple.
like Trump cannot say that in these times, in the 21st century, but he's relating like that hating and that bad part of Americans. He made it grow that.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you because it was like kind of going down, right? All those thoughts about the racism, about discrimination were kind of, they were not over, but they were kind of there, hidden perhaps.
Yes,
But
how can I
Trump,
say hizo despertar de nuevo eso?
yeah, yeah, you can use the same word. He just made that up again, okay, or brought that up. That's
Yeah,
better, okay.
broke that up on the
Okay,
Americans.
exactly. Exactly. He brought that feeling up, that hatred, right? That hatred that they have towards immigrants or towards people whose color, right? Whose
Mhm.
skin's color is different. But those are nonsense. But many people, even that's nonsense. Even as you were saying, right? We're in the 21st century. They are still thinking that those kind of characteristics affect, right? The think and the way we are, and they made us worse or better. But
Mhm.
well, that's a thing that still happens. So let's rationalize this because they are saying, and we're going to understand why he's mentioning 138 reasons why Trump fever still hasn't broken. And let's analyze this related to what happened in Capitol, right? So I'm going to read the first paragraph, Jaime, and you're going to tell me when you understand. Okay?
Okay.
Good. So it says, you might think that after violent insurrections act on by Donald Trump stormed and commanded the Capitol on Wednesday, that Republicans might finally disavow the president's wild fantasies about how he actually won the elections in a landslide. Well, you'd be wrong. All right, that's the introduction. What do you understand of that first part?
It's like mm, some people thought that Donald Trump won the election because he was a good way, he sell a good product, and he made them like people to believe in them, because that's basically what the politics that do. They don't do when they got the power. They don't actually do with the things that they promise. They promise everything. At the end, they don't do it. And in Bolivia, it's worse.
Yes, yes.
But I think that is not different than the U.S.
Yeah, in
Um,
a certain way, it's related. Tell me,
exactly.
Jaime, what else?
No, it's just that, like, and with the actions that he took yesterday and the way that he was like commending these guys to make what happened, because it's something that is not okay. Because at the end, that's what the people saying that here. If people wants that, if people wants communism, because I don't know if Joe Biden is the same, like it's just 100% communist, but it's the same line, that these guys. But at the end, you had to respect what the majority says. Here, same that in Bolivia, for example, I didn't like the results of the election here in Bolivia in October, but what can I do? Is what the
Yeah,
people, most of the people believes. No matter if there is if there is how can I say fraud,
yeah,
fraude,
fraud. Fraud.
if
It's
there's
okay,
fraud
fraud.
or not, at the end they won, and I want to see what they do, because that's what ese va a ser el peor castigo que van a tener. That's the worst punishment that they're gonna have. Sorry, I
Yeah,
remember. At the end, if they don't do what they say that we're doing, they will be just liars, and
yeah,
people finally realize. But just go and to the capital and do that what they did. Um, I think people died, so it's not a good thing. And we're the coronavirus pandemic is still, so a lot of
yeah.
people got infected. Trust me, and they're gonna pay that later.
Yeah, yeah, that is correct. I agree with you. We're not always going to be on the winner's side, right? Perhaps people still have some faith on certain ideologies. For example, here in Bolivia, as you were mentioning, right? But
Mhm.
if they won and there was not fraud, then let's see what happens. Perhaps they are going to do what they said they were going to do. Perhaps they don't. And as we were saying, people are going to realize and they are going to wake up, right? And going to say, okay, I think this is not working. So they may change their way of thinking. But yeah, yeah, doing those kind of things only shows their primitive behavior. And all those things are going to have some negative effects, right? And that's going to be something we're going to see in the future, perhaps. This is something that we mentioned at the beginning in the first paragraph, Jaime. It's in the chat. It says violent insurrections act on by Donald Trump. How could you paraphrase that idea? What does it mean?
Can you repeat it, please? Sorry.
Yeah, it's also in the chat, just in case. It says
Okay.
violent insurrectionists edged on, right, or act on
What is
by
what is
Donald Trump.
edge? I don't remember what is edge.
This one is actually a phrasal verb. To egg on, just egg on, it's like encourage. Okay,
Oh,
encourage.
okay, okay. So do you want me to repeat that phrase with a different
Exactly.
words,
I have
right?
to paraphrase it. Uh-huh.
Violence is the same. Donald Trump and violence are basically the same word. Could be one.
Okay, okay. They say that those people also were supported by Donald Trump, and even he had some meetings, right?
Probably
Those
because
groups.
Donald Trump is a really wealthy man, you know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he has lots of money, so perhaps he also controls some of these things that are happening. We don't know, right? We don't know, but perhaps that's a thing. Now, let me read one last part to finish with the conversation and to understand the headline. Remember that the headline says 138 reasons, right, why the Trump fever still hasn't broken. And it's explained in this part. All right, let me read this.
Okay.
There were two actual votes on Wednesday night, one to object the results in Arizona and the other to do the same in Pennsylvania. In the former vote, 121 Republicans, including House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, California, and House Minority Whip Steve Scalise, Louisiana, voted to object to the results. In the Pennsylvania vote, 138 House Republicans voted to object the Electoral College results, again including McCarthy and Scalise. All right. So, what do you understand that in that part, and how can you relate that to the headline?
Mm, please, Jose, could you repeat it one more time, please? It was the internet was very low in my house, so I couldn't hear very well. One more time, please, and I will tell you.
Okay, don't worry. Of course, here it goes. I'm going to start. There
Okay.
were two actual votes on Wednesday night, one to object the results in Arizona and the other to do the same in Pennsylvania. Period. In the
Okay.
former vote, 121 Republicans, including House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, California, and House
Mhm.
Minority Whip Steve Scalise, Louisiana, voted to object the results. Period.
Okay.
In the Pennsylvania vote, 138 House Republicans voted to object the Electoral College results, again including McCarthy and Scalise. So, big terms. What are you able to understand in that part? It doesn't have to be everything, but what do you understand there?
It's like most of them want to reject, like they reject, like the party of the Republicans, that is the party of Donald Trump. They reject the elections and they want to object, like to, they think there was a fraud.
Yeah,
And it was difficult, you know, because with the mail vote and all those things, good things could happen. But at the end, what you can do, the United States need to have a leader, needs to have a president, and if
yeah,
he won, he won. You cannot do anything. But they still, I think there's gonna be a really hard government for Biden, because I don't think that Donald Trump is just gonna let him. I think that's not the way what he did yesterday, but in the Congress, probably he will try to make him uncomfortable. Same situation that here, but the difference that here, El Mas, they always have a majority, and when they didn't have it, like the 2/3, uh,
yes,
they
yes,
changed the
it's okay.
constitution, and that you cannot do that. But I think in the United States you cannot do that as easy as here, because you need a lot of
Exactly.
things to change. So that just shows how people are, like Republicans are in the side of Donald Trump.
Exactly. And that's it. Exactly. People are still supporting Trump, saying that there was fraud in certain states, right? For example, that's something that was happening in Pennsylvania, in Arizona. And look, if you can relate that, in the chat, you have the last paragraph that I read and also the headline. So those are the 38 reasons they are talking about because they were 138 reasons because there were 138 House Republicans that voted to object the electoral college results. Is as you were saying, right? They really believe that there was fraud going on there, and they are not going to stop until they show or prove that. Or as you're mentioning, if they are not able to prove it, they are going to make Democrats, right, everything impossible because they have a vote, right, and they have a voice in the,
And
let's
they're
say,
gonna use
Senate.
them. They're gonna use
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Exactly. It's not going to be an easy term for Biden, as you were saying. But as you also mentioned, this is something that happens around the world in any country, right? There's going to be always the opposition
Yeah.
doing things right impossible for the other party. And that's it.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
we're going to be finishing with this. Jaime, I don't know if you have any final questions or comments before finishing the class.
No,
Just
that's perfect, Jose. And I'm sorry, I apologize. I couldn't make it to the class yesterday, but I'm gonna show the video. I'm gonna watch the video of
that's
the
great.
class, and I'm gonna practice that. And I will be for sure in tomorrow's class at 6, right?
Exactly, exactly. That's great, Jaime. Just to remind you something, Monday, right, is going to be the first oral presentation. So try to
Mm-hmm.
have something ready. Try to prepare something and try to talk about that thing for 10 minutes. Tomorrow, I'm
Okay.
going to give you more details about that. But any topic you want, 10 minutes. Try to give a lot of details about that you want to talk about.
Okay. Excellent.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for being here and have a
Thanks to
great
you,
night,
Jose.
guys.
I appreciate it.
Bye bye, Jaime.
Have a good night.
Hello, Alejandro. You there? Good evening,
Hi,
Alejandro.
good evening.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thanks. And you?
That's great. I'm fine, thank you. So
Okay.
it's good that you're here. We're going to start the conversation. It's going to be a little bit different, but I want to know first if you have any questions about, this course in general. Remember that this is the last course, Alejandro, and this is about listening and speaking. And instead of essays, this time you have to work on presentations that are going to be done at, well, in class, right? You have to prepare everything by yourself, even a PowerPoint presentation, because you have to show something to the class. And on Monday, every Monday, you're going to have 10 minutes to make that presentation. All right? Everybody is going to do that in class. The topic is any topic you want. And what we're going to be doing in class with me the other days, because all the presentations are going to be on Monday. And let's say that Monday we're not going to have a class, it's going to be only presentations, you and your partners. So on, let's say, Wednesdays and on Fridays, you're going to be learning some strategies with me to improve perhaps the skills that you have in speaking. Let's say some things that you can do when you're struggling, when you don't know what to say. Also, some other strategies for regarding the listening skills. And I'm also going to teach you some other things related to some international tests. One that is the TOEFL and the other one that is the Cambridge. Those are the things that we're going to be doing in class. And again, Mondays are going to be for you to work on those presentations. I don't know if you have any questions regarding that information, Alejandro. I want that to be clear before going to the conversation itself.
Okay, that's clear. That's clear.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's perfect. No, you're welcome, Alejandro. So tomorrow we're going to continue working. I think you were there tomorrow, but you have to leave, right? Because you couldn't stay the whole class.
I sorry I couldn't hear you.
Yes, no. Yesterday I told you that you were a little bit
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I was trying to join. Actually, I think I joined, but I couldn't hear you. It was too.
It was
Mm,
laggy, right? I think it was with lag and
yeah.
okay.
I
All right.
couldn't hear, and I had to leave.
All right. So tomorrow try to do it again. I hope it works. Perhaps it was internet connection because you know that 30% is going to be dedicated to this participation in class. And this time we don't have like documents to write on. Everything is going to be by speaking. So it's really important that you're in class to have those 30 points because those 30 points go to attendance and of course it's going to be related to participating and to work on the practices and exercises that we're going to have in class. Okay?
Okay. I have a problem.
Oh, tell me, Alejandro.
I know that we we wouldn't. Mm, I don't know how to say it. On December, we didn't pass classes,
Yes, that is correct.
and I didn't know because I'll start another course on January 18th.
Okay,
So
okay.
on it is at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
To 9 p.m.
I
All right.
consider December my last month in.
Okay, yes, okay, I understand. So it was going
Yeah,
to be the last month, but as we didn't have classes and we have in January, but you have other
yeah,
courses now in January, right? Is it going to be possible for you perhaps to be at least the first 45 minutes or the first hour in the class from 6
yeah.
to 7,
Actually,
perhaps?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. If that's possible, it's perfect, Alejandro, because in the presentations, you can be perhaps the first or the second, I don't know, the third person in doing that, so that you are at least in the class that 1 hour and then you can leave. Okay?
Okay,
All right, that's perfect. Let's do it that way. In that way, I'm going to consider also that you're not going to be the whole class, So the things that you can say that you are in class that first 45 minutes, let's say, or that first hour, is going to be more than enough to give you the points you need. All right.
All right. And what about the conversation?
Right now it's 7. I'm going to talk to some of your partners, and I'm going to try to make a change so that you have the conversation before 7 also. I'm going to try this to be at least 6 o'clock or 6:15. The maximum is going to be 6:30, but one of those is going to be your schedule. All
Okay.
right?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
That's perfect. No, you're welcome. I'm going to verify that first with your partners again, but I'm sure that one of them is going to be willing to change the schedule.
Hope so.
Yes, yes. Don't worry because they were telling me that they want also if I need to change this because I told them that I was working with the more students and I'm until 10:30 in the evening all these days, and they told me that they can be even earlier. So I'm going to try to change the schedule of one of those people, and then you're going to fit in the 6 or 6:30 schedule. All right.
Okay, perfect.
Great. Very good, Alejandro. So let's begin. Let's take advantage of these minutes that we have, 8. You know, the dynamic of these conversations is a little bit different because this time I'm going to be reading something for you, Alejandro, and you're going to try to tell me what this article is about, and you're going to try to paraphrase and restate what you hear. Okay?
Okay.
Great. This is the headline of the article. 138 reasons why the Trump fever still hasn't broken. So, what do you understand of this headline, Alejandro?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
All right, so one more time. It says 138 reasons why the Trump fever still hasn't broken. So, what do you think that is about? What do you understand of that headline?
That there are a lot of reasons. I I don't know the meaning of one word that you said.
All right. Well, what was? I'm going to read one more time, and you're going to try to repeat that word. All right. So it's 138 reasons why the Trump fever still hasn't broken.
After Trump.
All right. So Trump here, we're talking about Donald Trump.
No, after Trump.
Fever, right? When you have
Oh,
fever, you don't feel good. But fever also means something is going on there, right?
like a
It's related to when you're sick. That's
okay.
exactly. Exactly. But you can say, right, in Spanish also you use fever in this way. When there's a
Yeah.
fever about something, it means that there is something there, right? There's something going on there.
Okay. Okay.
So with that said, in your own words, what do you understand of this headline, Alejandro?
That there are a lot of reasons to. Actually, I don't understand. Sorry.
All right, don't worry. We're going to be working like that. So the first part is very easy, right? 138 reasons. So there are many, many reasons. Why the Trump fever, right? So why the Trump think, why the Trump events, why the Trump supporters, why all those things about Trump still hasn't broken. If something is not broken, it means that it's still working. So in other words, there
Okay.
are many reasons why many people are still supporting Trump, right? There are many reasons why there are still many supporters saying that Trump won the election, in other words, right? So we're saying that in other words, there's a Trump fever that hasn't broken yet. So the fever is still on, the fever is still happening. Many people are still on the side of Donald Trump. right, of Donald Trump. So we're saying that in other words, again, I'm copying and pasting. If you check the chat, I'm copying and pasting the headline. That is the headline, right? 138 reasons why the Trump fever still hasn't broken. So
Yeah.
people are still on the side of Trump. Now, let me continue. I'm going to read the first paragraph and we're going to understand what this person means by saying that. It says, you might think that after violent insurrectionists, all right, that word, violent insurrectionists, egged on by Donald Trump, stormed and commanded the Capitol on Wednesday, that Republicans might finally disavow the president's wild fantasies about how he actually won the election in a landslide. Well, you'd be wrong. Okay. What do you understand in that part, Alejandro? Perhaps only some words, some ideas. What do you think that paragraph is about? What could it be? And don't worry, we're going to be analyzing again part by part.
Uh, it's about
What could it be? We're going to start with this. Look, this part. And we're going to understand the words. And this is what I want to do. First, it's going to be like trying to understand like that. Then we're going to go to the part itself. In the chat, you can find the first part of the paragraph. It says, you might think that after violent, right, insurrectionists act on. What is act on? Let's try to analyze that.
I don't know it.
Act on is similar to encouraged. Okay, encouraged. So it's like saying you might think that after violent insurrectionists encouraged by Donald Trump, right? This is the first part of the idea.
Perfect.
Stormed, right, and commanded the Capitol on Wednesday. And I'm going to copy and paste everything now. And let's try to analyze that together. It says, right? You might think that after the violent insurrectionists, right, all those people who are violent, encouraged by Donald Trump, right, stormed and commanded the Capitol, who broke in the Capitol, right, who were rioting on the Capitol on Wednesday. You might think that because of that, that after that, Republicans, right, or Republicans might finally what? This is a verb. Disavow the president's wild fantasies about he actually, right, won the election in a landslide. Having that there, what do you understand of that idea? And after that idea, the person writes this. Well, you are wrong. It's not like that. Republicans didn't do that. What do you understand of that part, Alejandro? Let's try to understand this together to finish the conversation. What do you say?
Okay, that after that
Mhm.
after those
You can use one of these words, right? Events, riots, one of those words perhaps. After those events, after those riots.
I have doubt. Donald Trump is Republican.
Yeah, that's correct. Donald Trump
Okay,
is Republican.
okay, okay. That is illogical that after those events, Republicans. I don't know what's this vote. This vote.
To this vote, and this goes together, okay? To this vote in a landslide. It's like saying to throw something away in a garbage. Okay, it's a metaphor here. Okay, it's like saying Republicans are not believing that anymore. They are disavowing something in a landslide. I'm copying and pasting the idea.
Okay,
All
and
right. And it's like
you think
saying
that we
they
can
don't
still
believe that anymore.
Donald Trump after those events?
Exactly. Exactly. And they actually, more than that, more than a fact, he's mentioning this as a possibility, right? We might think that Republicans might finally, it means, stop believing that the president, right, fantasies about winning the election are true. We think that that's logical, as you were saying, and it's logical. But actually, he says that at the end of the paragraph. I'm going to copy and paste that again. Well, you'd be wrong. It means that it's not over, right? Even though that happened, Republicans are still supporting Trump because there are many other reasons why they believe that Trump won the election and they are not going to stop until they prove that everything was a fraud. All
Okay,
right?
okay, all right.
Okay, so that's like the introduction. He's showing possibilities. Always be careful with this word, right? Remember, this word might always mention something that is possible, a possibility. So that's not a fact. That's not true. So we might think that it was like that, but actually, the truth is that it's not over yet. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, great, Alejandro. So I think this is going to be everything for today. Thanks again for being here. Tomorrow we're going to continue working on the strategies, and that's it. If you have any questions, you just can let me know.
Okay. Thank you, Jose Luis.
Thank you very much, Alejandro. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Great. Hello, Andrea. Are you there?
Hi, Jose Luis.
Hello, good evening. How are you? Is everything okay?
Yes.
That's perfect. So we're going to start with today's conversation. I would like also to mention something because we were talking about this, and I would like to have a short, very short conversation before going to the conversation itself about what happened in the U.S. right in the capital. I don't know if you saw some of the news about what happened in the U.S., Andrea.
I didn't see much.
All right. Did you hear something about? I don't know. What were you able to see? That little thing that you heard about, perhaps.
I think that there are conflicts and uh, I'm not sure. Congress, Biden won
Mhm.
the Congress, like the majority of the Congress, something like that. But I'm
Okay.
not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. 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 You're right. So far, right, the Democrats. Of course, Biden is a Democrat, right, and Donald Trump is a Republican. So far, Biden has not only won the elections, right, the presidency, but Biden and his party, it means the Democrats, have won almost everything. All right, the House of Representatives, the Senate, they have control almost everything now in the United States. And of course, Republicans are afraid because they are not going to have a voice, they are not going to have a saying in the United States decisions, right? And that's why many people don't agree with what's happening there. And there were riots on the Capitol. Now, Trump says that there was a fraud, right? There was fraud in the last elections in which Biden won. Do you believe that there was a fraud? I mean, we're not from the U.S. We don't know what happened, but do you believe that it is possible that there was a fraud and that Trump won the election again, Andrea? Or what do you think about that?
I don't think that there was a fraud because eh, se me fue el nombre, ¿cómo se llama? Trump made angry, make many people get angry.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. What are the things that you believe that Trump did that made Americans angry?
There was a huge problem last year about racism, state you said?
Racism? Racism?
Racism, yes.
Correct. Okay. Okay, yes, you're right. What happened? Do you remember what happened?
They kill a guy, a policeman kill a guy and didn't have consequences.
Okay, yes, you're right, right? It was an Afro-American who was killed by a police, and it was something that people, right, were really angry about. Okay, so
Yes.
I just wanted to know about that. So look, it's really important to talk about those things, but today's conversation is going to be about this other article, Andrea. I'm going to read the headline, and you're going to tell me everything you understand. All right?
Okay.
Good. So it says exposure to dirty air in the world's most polluted region linked to pregnancy loss, study finds. What do you
Can you
understand of that?
repeat, please?
Of course, exposure to dirty air in the world's most polluted region linked to pregnancy loss, study finds. All right, and
Okay.
I'm going to repeat important words. It says exposure, it says dirty air, right? Dirty air. Then the world's most polluted region, and this word is important, linked, connected, right? To pregnancy loss. Okay, pregnancy loss. The study finds. Before going to the details, because we're going to analyze part by part, what do you understand of everything you hear, Andre?
That because of air pollution, there are many pregnancy lost.
Exactly. Or you can say,
Pregnancy loss means that you can't have children or that you get pregnant and lost the baby.
yes, exactly. It means that you are pregnant and you lose it.
Okay.
All right. So yes, and to use the noun instead of lost, you're going to say like losses, right?
Losses.
Pregnancy losses. Exactly. Or loss is a general idea and it can be like that. So it's in the chat. I already copied and pasted. You are right. There are many things related to the dirty air, right? And the most polluted countries that show a link, right? A connection between that and the fact that many women are, right, losing their babies, let's say. And that's kind of sad, right? That's very, very sad. We live in a country that perhaps has lots of pollution, not as much as, let's say, some countries in Asia or some other first world countries. But what do you think about this? Do you think that this is something new that we found out, or this is something that we knew before, Andrea?
I didn't know about pregnancy loss. It was, I know that air pollution could cause, could give breathing disease,
Okay, good. Yes.
but I didn't know about pregnancy loss.
Okay, okay, so this is a new and interesting fact. Again, this is
Yes.
very sad, but it's important that we know this, right? It's very important that we know about all these facts. So look, I'm going to read. I'm going to continue reading, this time part of the article, and you're going to tell me again everything you understand. All right?
Okay.
So it says, pregnant women in South Asia who have been exposed to air pollution face an increased risk of pregnancy loss, right? Miscarriage and stillbirth, according to a new study. Researchers found that an estimated of 349,000, right, 681 pregnancy losses each year across India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan were associated with bad air quality. All right. The last part, published in the Lancet Planetary Health Journal on Wednesday, the study suggests that if these countries met India's air quality standard, it could have prevented 7% of annual pregnancy losses. So, What do you understand about all that information in your own words and only the things you understand?
Can you repeat the last part, please?
Okay. Published in the Lancet Planetary Health Journal on Wednesday, the study suggests that if these countries met India's air quality standard, it could have prevented 7% of the annual pregnancy losses. All right?
Okay.
So, well, what do you understand? What is the main idea here, or what do you understand about all this information?
Uh, it says that in I don't remember Bangladesh and other countries there are a lot of uh, pregnancy losses,
Mhm. Exactly.
and it this could be prevented, but I'm not sure how.
Okay, exactly. There's a way to prevent at least 7% of those. And I'm going to copy and paste that part, right? It says the
Okay.
study suggests that if these countries met India's air quality standard, right, it could have prevented 7% of those losses. It's in the chat. What is to meet something?
To get to a point, to get to a
Mhm.
standard.
Exactly, right? To meet some requirements is that you are fulfilling those requirements, right? You are fulfilling those requirements. You are
Mhm.
following certain rules. You are, right, in a certain parameter, following those standards, right? So
Okay.
they suggest that if they follow those parameters, which parameters? India's air quality, right? The standard.
Mhm.
It could have prevented 7% of annual pregnancy losses. So, what do you think about that? Do we have a standard here in Bolivia and Latin America? Do you know something about that, Andrea?
Yes, there is a standard in Bolivia, and there is two that are considered here. That is the standard, the national standard, and the international standard. There is a global standard, if you will say.
Okay, okay. And what's that about, Andrea? What does that standard tell us about? Well, what are the things that a country should do related to those standards?
There are 8 parameters that if you do some math and you would get the air quality, like you do like, no sé cómo decir, like mm, promedio, how do you say promedio?
An average,
The,
average.
the average of 8 parameters and you get the air quality. I
Okay.
heard that there are a lot of countries that like you hear the time every day, you can hear the air quality every day. Actually, there is an application here in Cochabamba that is called, I don't remember right now, but you can see by areas what's the air quality every day.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. Actually, I'm going to look
Yes.
for that app. I think that really is something that we all need to know, right?
Yes,
And it's
because
interesting.
you can know if you is recommended or not doing activities en el aire libre
Okay, you see, you can only say on the outside or in the
and the
outside.
outside or not.
Okay,
So you can see that.
okay, all right. That's really interesting. And I imagine that we're doing that here because, again, many people consider that perhaps Cochabamba, they were saying, is one of the most polluted ones in terms of statistics, and I don't know. But it's interesting. And look, there's a fact to finish the conversation right now that says for air pollution about the World Health Organization, it's in the chat, air quality guidelines, right? Which recommends the safer 10 micrograms per cubic meter of air. Exposure may have contributed to 29% of pregnancy losses, the study found, right? So it seems that it's really something that affects a lot, and perhaps it's something that happens here. but we're not taking that into account. It will be important to make also those kind of studies, right?
Right, because as I mentioned, I have a professor that do this kind of studies here in Cochabamba, and only I think that they take in consideration like um, all people and kids that are like that are the most affected uh, populations, and
Uh-huh.
do study in breathing disease, but not
Okay.
about
Not
pregnancy losses.
pregnancy losses. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what are the other effects, right, of this pollution. It will be good to do that. So, Andrea, we're going to be finishing with this right now. Okay, so thanks for being in today's conversation. Tomorrow we're going to continue working and practicing with those strategies. And don't forget to look for any topic that you want to talk about on Monday. All right, because remember, on Monday you have to work on your first oral presentation, and you're going to have 10 minutes to talk about anything you want, but you need to have a presentation on PowerPoint. All right?
Okay. Okay,
Okay.
Jose.
Thank you very much, Andrea. One more time and have a good night.
Bye.